Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well and taking really good care. Here is your intuitive astrology and energy forecast for this upcoming week, February 23rd through March 1st. Our tagline for this upcoming week, time burns fast, anchor what lasts. I'll say it again, time burns fast, anchor what lasts. We are under Pisces energy right now, Pisces season, which positively speaking in higher vibration really enhances, increases the compassion, the empathy, the intuition, the ability to want to dive deeper into self, to reflect, to connect. On the opposite side of that, it can also be highly emotional and maybe even a little paranoid at times. We have Mercury stationing retrograde this week in the sign of Pisces. And I've been preparing you for that for the past few weeks because this one has the potential to be, and I do feel, will be a little bit messy, a little bit soggy, as Mercury is in its detriment in the sign of Pisces, does not function at the height of its power there, which doesn't mean bad, it just means different. Mercury in Pisces is a water sign, a mutable water sign. It's very bendable, it's very porous, very intuitive, and very emotional. Pisces sees beyond the veil. Pisces sees what's underneath the surface. And Mercury, the messenger, the communicator. Mercury just wants to get out the facts, the data. Mercury wants to move quickly. So we throw in Mercury in Pisces and then a retrograde on top of that. And, oh, by the way, we are right smack in the middle of eclipse season as we had our solar eclipse back on February 17th, and we've got our lunar eclipse coming up next week on March 3rd. So everything feels heightened right now. You may feel a sense of fate impending. Perhaps you feel a little bit jittery. This seems to be running rampant through the collective, the energy at large. We have been having a lot of solar flares. The Schumann resonance, which is the heartbeat of the earth, the chart has been spiking, meaning that our physical bodies are absolutely feeling this shift of the earth's frequency. The ears are a huge source of discomfort right now for many. Whooshing, popping, vibrating, in and out hearing. As I always say, barring that you do not have a medical issue, of course, this is likely energetic based, energy related. At the same time, your senses, your intuition, your discernment can feel so sharp and so heightened. Dreams are so telling right now. Connection to spirit, much stronger. You are not imagining that. This is the energy right now. So while the time in between eclipses definitely feels wild, it also feels otherworldly. Time seems to speed up and it can feel quite chaotic. We've also got the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which I've talked quite a bit about. I just wrote a post about it as well, which I'll link below here. That's very active right now, and this is not just something that's going to be coloring the energy of this week or last week. This is moving forward. This is ongoing. Also, something that came through clear to me as I was channeling. Of course, I always want to say, I do not like to fearmonger. I do not like anyone to feel panicked or anxious by what I say or overwhelmed to an already overwhelming time. However, when I receive certain insights that I feel are beneficial to share, you know I will share them. So I was picking up on a lot of potential strong energy around water, specifically riptides, chaotic waters, okay, rough waters, literally. And I was picking up even specifically on areas here, so Belize, Mexico, Costa Rica. And then I specifically got Clearwater Beach, Florida, okay? So just know that that's something I got for this upcoming week, that the water could be extra energetic, surges, things of that nature. It didn't feel catastrophic. It just felt almost like a little nudge. If you happen to be, for example, how this works, if you happen to be vacationing or you live in Clearwater Beach and you are at the beach and you notice, you get that feeling that the water seems a little bit different, or like you just get the feeling you shouldn't go in it, just honor that, trust that. That's what I'm saying. Specifically, again, the areas that I just mentioned, and we will likely even hear something coming out of at least one of these areas in the news, in the headlines. Belize, Mexico, Costa Rica, Florida, specifically Clearwater Beach. That's not to incite fear. It's just for awareness. In preparation for this Mercury retrograde in Pisces, well, as much as we can be prepared for a Mercury retrograde, right? Just remember not to spin your wheels. If you've been wanting, for example, to start a cleanse, Take some time away from going out, maybe insulating yourself a little bit, working on your spiritual connection. This Mercury retrograde is fabulous for that. It's fabulous for editing things that are already in motion. It's fabulous for creative work, artistic endeavors, fabulous for reflection. If you utilize the energy wisely, honoring it for what it is, I'm not saying that there won't be any blunders because it is Mercury retrograde after all. There are delays, technology glitches, which I've seen happening for the past few weeks. Also, communication breakdowns. So just be mindful of that and all should be well. We can't change it. We just need to be aware of it. Now let's move into the day by day. Monday the 23rd, the moon will start off in Taurus. It will square off with Mars. It'll align with Uranus. And then the moon will go void at 5:29 p.m. Eastern time. And will enter Gemini at 9:29 p.m. Eastern time. So Monday can be one of those days that feels a little all over the place. I do feel like it might start off a little bit more quiet, but as the day progresses, we can feel the energy ramping up, maybe even a little bit of chaos. And it can be fun chaos too, by the way. It doesn't have to be anything negative, but there's just this feeling of the tempo increasing. You may even feel a little bit anxious inside your body. So take good care, ground yourself, and move through it as best as you can. And honestly, you may not really feel much at all. It's not big astrology on Monday. Depends how sensitive you are energetically. Tuesday the 24th, the moon in Gemini will trine Pluto. This is a great day for anything that involves research and focus, something that you really need and want to get to the heart of. This is fabulous for making improvements and taking control, regaining traction. We can feel a little bit extra flexible and adaptable on Tuesday as well. The moon will square the sun in the north node, also the south node. The moon will square Venus. So while there could be an abrasive bite to the air, there's also this desire to really get to the bottom of everything and to use any information for the better. We'll also have dwarf planet Ceres exactly aligned with Chiron at 23 degrees of Aries. And they'll be moving together. And to translate that, this is more of a background energy, but it's definitely there. In the sign of Aries, especially now that Saturn and Neptune are both in Aries, aligned, the Aries energy is strong in our lives, meaning you could have it revealed to you, obviously or not so obviously, where you may have the desire to control something, to take control, to take initiative, where you may not have been able to do so, why you might not have been able to do so. There's a very strong energy here of nurturing your own environment, nurturing your own feelings, nurturing your own experiences, and taking ownership of them. Taking ownership on how to better move through it all for yourself. How to soothe the self, to go after and receive what it is that you desire, that you deserve. And if you want to go one step further, and you know your astrology chart, you can look for where 23 degrees of Aries falls. And I'll also link here in this post where you can pull up your birth chart. On Wednesday, the 25th, the moon will square Venus. It will trine Mars. There could be an excitement to the air. We may want to go, but we may feel like we're getting slowed down at the same time. Honor any setbacks as a sign to take a step back rather than push forward this week. Then the moon will go void at 6 p.m. and it will enter Cancer at 12:11 a.m. on the 26th. Now, moving into the 26th, I have Thursday flagged as a very emotional, tender day, collectively speaking. Some of us will feel that more than others, but this is the day where I would tread lightly. I also would say stay alert. This is not the day to skip the caffeine if you have it every day, or if that's what ramps you up, or whatever gives you energy. It's not the day to skip that because you want to be alert. The moon is in Cancer, which naturally makes the energy a little slower, a little more emotional, a little more tired, and even sometimes cranky. And then on top of that, Mercury stations retrograde on the 26th at 1:48 a.m. Eastern time at 22 degrees of Pisces. So Mercury loves to throw things off. Mercury retrograde loves to throw things off. And when in the sign of Pisces, it can be very draining, emotionally draining and physically draining. You may feel like your energy is being sucked, drained, dried out. Rest will be very vital, especially if you have strong Pisces in your birth chart, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, the mutable signs. You will likely feel this retrograde that much more strongly. But pay attention, everyone, pay attention to what comes up around these times, around these few weeks that Mercury is retrograde, because there's something very karmic about it, something that's very repetitive. We're shedding, all of us are shedding baggage emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I don't think that anyone would disagree with that. You will be feeling more connected to your intuitive self. So this is a good thing. So notice the patterns for this Mercury retrograde especially. And Mercury will be retrograde from the 26th of February until March 20th. Friday the 27th, I've got this day flagged as a stop sign kind of day here. We really want to be Thursday into Friday, but Friday even more so. Like I said, that Thursday is one of those days where you want to be really aware. Well, Friday even more so. Be careful out there in the world. MYOE, mind your own energy. And remember that we also BYOE, we bring our own energy. BYOE, bring your own energy. Taking it back to the tagline, time burns fast, anchor what lasts. Don't waste your time spinning your wheels with anybody else's unnecessary drama. Mind your own energy. Stay in your lane. On the road as well, because the driving situation Thursday and Friday especially could be a little volatile. Emotions are high and hot. Accidents could be more likely. I don't like to fearmonger, but this is the energy. These are the energies that we're under. Mars is going to square Uranus exact at 27 degrees. We've got Mars in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus at 27 degrees. Anytime we have a square between Mars and Uranus, you know I say the same thing. Proceed with caution. If you're driving, if you're flying, just remain aware, because the energy is impatient and impulsive. So focus on directing the strong energies in a positive way. Work on something for yourself. Don't get pulled into other people's stuff. Stay in your lane. Be a little bit more deliberate and more intentional with all of your movements, and all should be well. But Friday does have the potential to be a little volatile. The sun will also align with the North Node at 8 degrees of Pisces. The North Node, this is where we have eclipses. The sun aligning with the North Node, there could be this, again, this quickening of the energy and this feeling of timelines just merging. Destiny is at work here. Destiny is at play. This is about being at the right place at the wrong time or the wrong place at the right time, if you follow my drift. Things can turn left quite quickly when you intend them to go right. This is about going with the flow while also staying very aware. And the song going through my head right now is, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. That's, don't mind my singing, the Rolling Stones. Just think of that song. That's this energy. And sometimes you do get what you want, and it's fabulous. It's a reminder to revel in it all, in the magic of life. Then on Saturday, the 28th, the moon will enter Leo. It will come up into opposition with Pluto. It will harmonize with Saturn and Neptune. We've got Mercury exactly conjunct Venus at 22 degrees of Pisces. Water, water, water energy. This is nice for communication, for heartfelt communication and expression. This is great for creative expression. You may also find that conversations or a conversation from the past comes back around. It's almost like there's a second chance to open something back up for closure. So it's also important to keep an open mind. Remember that Pisces is a very adaptable, flexible, mutable water sign. Although sometimes Pisces energy, metaphorically speaking, can swim away at the slightest indication of conflict. If you have the opportunity to discuss something for clarity, for movement forward, even though Mercury is retrograde, it's having a nice moment with Venus. And Venus does very well in Pisces. So you can use the energy of this on Saturday to open up and express what's in your heart. Kindly, of course. You might also be the recipient of this. So keep that in mind. Keep an open mind. And then we close out the week on Sunday. It's March 1st. Rabbit. It's the first of the month. The moon in Leo will harmonize with Chiron in Ceres. It will also oppose Mars. I kind of like Sunday. Now, we are also building up to that lunar eclipse, which is on March 3rd. So there's going to be a lot of reveals this week, especially as we get towards the end of the week. The energy is going to feel chaotic and anxious. If you're someone who is prone to anxiety, please take good care of yourself. Take good care of your nervous system. Go into your spiritual toolbox and utilize those tools that help to keep you up. This is the best way you can navigate this energy with grace. And most important is be kind to yourself. Do not berate yourself for feeling a certain way or being a certain way. This week is a lot. And next week is a lot. We're in between eclipses. You may find yourself completely exhausted only to not be able to sleep. You may find that you're sleeping more. You may find that your animals, your children, extra clingy. You might be extra clingy. It's all par for the course right now. The best thing you can do for yourself and for others is to just be present with it all. It's kind of like intuition. When we know something, we just know it. We don't have to explain how we know it, but we just know it. That's what this week is going to feel like. It is a lot, though. The more you can lay low and take it slow, the better. That should have been the tagline. Lay low and take it slow. That's tagline 2. Time burns fast, anchor what lasts. Focusing on that which brings you joy. Focusing on that which you feel brings value to your life. That adds to your energy. Your energy is your currency. Since this is audio, I did it a little bit different this week. Prior to recording, I meditated and pulled one card. It's a postcard from Spirit. I have not looked at it yet, so I'm going to read it together with you all right now. This is for next week, the 23rd through the 1st. As you think, so will you experience life. Thoughts are that powerful, and they need minding. Let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down so they serve you or get released instead of wreaking havoc. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as truth. Yet the real truth is that essentially all is well. Of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, open, and so on. Those are the ones we want you to keep thinking, and they have a less frantic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from you. How do you keep an inner eye on your thoughts? Meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. Everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them, love yourself, and then choose the thoughts you want the world to reflect back. Life is not as hard as you think. Okay, wow. That is pretty much what I was saying throughout this whole entire reading. Obviously, I said it differently, but the messages are the same. They're vibrating at the same level. They're giving the same messages. So take really good care. I will have a special guided meditation for you for this Mercury retrograde. That'll be coming out shortly. The early March reading and the lunar eclipse reading is coming out shortly. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to answer a question from Karen. Karen asked, she said, "Hi, Lisa. In my birth chart, the segments for houses 6 and 12 are larger than the other houses. Is there a significance to the size of the segments?" Yes, there is. This is a really good question, and it's one that I receive often, especially when I teach astrology. So the houses in the birth chart, especially if you're using a quadrant house system like Placidus, which is the one that I use, this is the one that I suggest for personal astrology. Placidus calculates the house sizes based on your exact birth time and your exact geographic latitude. And this is all in accordance to the Earth's tilt. So think of it like this: the further your birth location is from the equator, the more unequal or distorted the houses will appear or become. The reason why I prefer, one of the reasons, and there's very many, but one of the reasons that I prefer the Placidus house system is I find it more accurate and more precise for personal astrology, because the Placidus house system divides the time that it takes for a sign to rise over the horizon, to ascend, the ascendancy. That's your rising sign. The whole house system splits it into equal segments. I hope that makes sense. And as always, please leave your questions. I will try to address them each week as I can. Take really good care, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.